What's going on, everyone? My name's Tim Williams. We're here to break down tonight's 12-game slate over on DraftKings. If you're new to the channel, welcome. What we do here is we break down these baseball games one by one over on DraftKings, basically these main contest slates. We have put a lot of information in these slides. We talk over, under, weather, of course, pitching matchups, hitting matchups, statistics, all that good stuff to help you try to find your edge. If that sounds good to you, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Don't miss out on any future breakdowns. And yeah, let's just get started here. Brewers, Nationals. Nationals favorited here at home, 9.5 over under. We have some rain here. Definitely a possible postponement situation. So I don't want to invest too much in this game personally. Anderson taking on Lester. Anderson, 7.5K, really low strikeout rate so far this season, 13.5%. He is getting a lot of ground balls, limiting fly balls, but he's getting hard hit. He's just hasn't looked that good. And then on the other side, Lester, 8.1K, his strikeout rate very low. Doesn't seem like both of these pitchers really have that ceiling anymore. Lester walking a lot of guys near 10% of the time. It's definitely a better matchup for Lester, but that price is just too expensive. And with the weather going on, I think I'm just going to fade this one. Next, we have the Braves Mets. Braves favorited here on the road, 6.5 over under. Again, it's going to be one of those rain situation games. I don't know if this one's going to play out. We have Anderson taking on Walker, who's coming off the IR. Anderson, 9.7K. It's a little pricey, but the matchup is beautiful for him. The Mets have been just terrible with their lineup. Anderson, 25.2% strikeout rate here, 10% walk rate, which is a little high. He is getting tons of ground balls near 60%, which is great. Really limiting fly balls at 19%. This really is a cupcake matchup for him. It's just too bad. I think the weather might be a little risky. And then on the other side, Walker, 9.1K, not going to pay that price for him ever. And the strikeout rate is fine, 23.7K. The walk rate's high, 10.4, right? You're saying you're looking at Anderson and Walker, and the K rate's kind of similar. The walk rate's similar. Just I think Anderson has a better pedigree. Walker can get into trouble. I just would feel safer paying up for Anderson. And then as far as the bats go, I think the only bats in play really would be the Braves. It's Freeman, Acuna, Albies. Really love Riley at that price, but this game might be a potential fade for me as well because of the weather. Next, we have the Marlins Red Sox. Red Sox favored at home. Beautiful day in Boston right now, but tonight it's a different story. I think that rain's going to be rolling in, similar to all these other East Coast games. 9 over under. Petit taking on Perez. Not interested in either pitcher in this one. Petit, really tough matchup against the Red Sox. And then Perez, 8.7K, continually priced up by DraftKings. Not that interested here. Guys in play on the Marlins side, Marte, Aguilar, Duvall, all have upside, all have power upside. And then on the Red Sox side, Verdugo, just a little bit too cheap here. 3.6K, very good deal. And then Devers too, 4.6K. These guys have massive upside, priced way too low. Santana, I think, is fine for a punt, 2.8. Bogarts, I like that spend up. But again, this game might be another fade for me as well, depending on the weather. So we'll have to check that out. Next, we have the Blue Jays, Indians. Blue Jays favorited here on the road, 8 over under. Another somewhat rainy game. I think this one does play, but it's going to be cold. The wind's blowing in at 20 miles per hour, something like that. So I really don't like the bats in this one. Pitching wise, I like Ryu here, 8.4K. Strikeout rate is fine, near 25%. The walk rate is so low, 2.8%. Love to see that. I really do like Ryu. I like this matchup for him. Indians don't strike out that much, but Ryu gets a lot of ground balls, really limits fly balls, but the weather might suck. So I don't know. This one might be another fade, unfortunately. But if anything, Ryu for sure would be the guy in play for me. Next, we have the Yankees Tigers, 7 over under. Just going to be a really cold day. I don't know if that rain is going to creep into Detroit or not, but I think this one's safe. Cole, 11.2K, going against Mize, 6.7K. Cole, just the clear ace on the slate. Really don't overthink this one. He has a near 40% strikeout rate. Very safe in cash games for sure. GPPs as far as single entries and stuff, you can definitely get there. To me, I think Cole is in the best spot out of anybody. Tigers second overall in strikeouts here. Really couldn't get much better. for Cole. We'll have to keep an eye out on his ownership. Last time we had a situation like this and a smaller slate, and Cole went like 70-80% owned. I don't think it's going to happen tonight, but it's definitely going to be up there. There's other ways to get different on the slate, so don't be afraid to use Cole. And then Mize 6.7K. I think that's fairly reasonable price. 18.7% strikeout rate, not great. Walk rate is high. He does limit fly balls. He does get grounders here. So there are games where he does get lucky, and he has been pitching well recently. The Yankees aren't really as scary as a lot of other teams. They do have a ton of power, but they really lack an average, 22 overall. And then strikeouts, we know they can strike out. So bats in play here. I think I'm leaning on the Yankee side for sure. Judge is always in play, 6K. Odor is kind of a coin flip, 3.6K. I think it's a little too pricey for me personally, but he's in a really good position here. He's either going to get you 0 fantasy points or he's going to get you a home run. So, and then Ford as well, if he cracks the lineup 3.2K, I think that's a cheap source of power. But other than that, that's about it. Next, we have the Orioles, White Sox here. White Sox favored it at home. 9 over under here. There's going to be some lingering rain. It's raining in Chicago early. That kind of jeopardizes the early Cubs game, but I think it's going to fade away here in the evening here, but just keep an eye out. Harvey taking on Keuchel. Harvey 6.4K. No, thank you. 17% strikeout rate. Fine, but he's giving up a ton of contact. White Sox are in a really good position here. And then Keuchel on the other side, 6.3K. The price is fine. He just doesn't have upside. The strikeouts are not there. 12% strikeout rate, 60% ground ball. I got to give him that one. Really limits fly balls at 20%. Does give up a lot of hard contact, but I think today I'm gonna lean more on the Keuchel side and just kind of fade the Orioles. And then all the bats on the White Sox for sure in play. They will probably be the highest owned team on the slate. When you think about all these other rain games, it's going to really condense this 12-game slate to like maybe a 9-game slate or something like that. So massive GPPs. I think it's worth considering fading the White Sox, but they're in a really good spot here at home. Just keep an eye on that weather. Next, we have the 8.5 over under of Padres versus the Astros. No favorite here. Lamet taking on Valdez. Lamet 7K. Strikeout rate is fine, 26.7%. Walks are a little high at 9%. He's giving up a lot of hard contact to left-handed batters, 57% of the time. And then on the other side, Valdez coming off the IL, 8.2K is a little too pricey for me in a matchup that might be a little bit tough. I looked at his, 2019 to 2020 seasons, 24% strikeout rate looks good, 62% ground ball rate, which is fantastic. Walks are a little bit high. He doesn't give up a lot of fly balls. So, potentially down the road, we can circle back to him. This isn't the matchup to go to, though. Padres hitters in play for sure, Machado and Tatis as a spend up. I really like Pham, 3.5K. He's been on fire recently. And on the Astro side, lefties for sure in play. Tucker, 3.8K, way too cheap. Brantley, Alvarez, if he cracks the lineup, 5K, that's fine price, whatever. He's been kind of injured. He's got a little bit of a wrist issue, but if he makes this lineup, I think he's going to go extremely low owned, and he has that power upside. So keep that in mind, but not a ton I love in this game, but definitely some options. Next, we have the Royals Twins, 8.5 over under here. Twins are favorited at home. Bubik taking on Dubnik. Don't love the pitching here. Definitely not going to get there. Bubik, 6.5K, 21% strikeout rate. It's fine. He walks too many guys. He's been really kind of lucky, I think, at this point. So I favor the Twins bats here, and we'll get into that. And then on the other side, Dubnik, the man with the sickest mustache. I don't know if he still has the mustache or not, but 5.8K. He's a fine ground ball pitcher, decent, okay, like real life pitcher. No strikeout upside. And the Royals don't even strike out that much anyway. On the Royals side, I do like Santana at 4.1K. He has the ability to get on base a ton. But as a team in general, the Royals have been kind of fading here. So I'm just going to wait till they get hot to really go back there in DFS. And then on the Twins side, I think, so many guys in play. They're 9th overall in average, on base percentage 13th. Home runs are there. They don't strike out as much. They're just kind of right in the middle of the pack. Garver, love him against lefties, 4.3K, my favorite catcher on the slate. Cruz for sure. Donaldson too cheap. Garlick's probably going to be leading off. He's been on fire. Refsnyder, I think, is a cheap way to get different in the stack. I think the Twins are going to be somewhat popular, and I don't mind what Refsnyder has been bringing to the table at that price. Next, we have the Cardinals Diamondbacks, 9 over under here. Oviedo taking on Bumgarner. Not too crazy about the pitching in this one. Oviedo, maybe a better real life pitcher than in fantasy. There's just no strikeout upside there, and he walks too many guys. And then Bumgarner, 8.9K. It's just a little bit too pricey for me. He has been okay, right? He has games where he's looked, like the old Madison Bumgarner, but, I think he's just been getting lucky to this point. 23% strikeout rate. He's not getting enough ground balls. He's giving up too many fly balls. He's really struggling against right-handed batters. So definitely not going to get there. That being said, Cardinals bats, Goldschmidt 3.9K is way too cheap. Arenado, Molina, O'Neill's been on fire, 3K. Love that home run upside. Edman 2 to kind of round out that stack. And then on the Diamondback side, this is a team that I really like. They kind of let us down yesterday. I think there's a lot of upside here now that the guys are healthy again. They're facing a pitcher who just doesn't have a ton of upside. Cardinals bullpen isn't that great. So I love me some Rojas, Marte back in that lineup, Escobar, Peralta, Kelly. So I really, kind of lean on the Diamondback side of things here. Next, we have the Angels, A's, 8 over under. We got Ohtani back on the mound. He was scratched yesterday. He's on the hill today, hopefully. 33% strikeout rate. Walks a lot of guys almost 21% of the time. He is the ideal, he's the poster child of variance when it comes to pitching. And then the A's, who are favorites here, Manaea, 8.5K, is a little pricey. Tougher matchup for him, 23.6% strikeout rate. Low walk rate, really gives up a lot of hard contact, but he's been fairly average. Probably not going to get here. But bats, on the Angels side, I'm kind of just going to go home run hunting here. And Rendon at 4.3K is just way too cheap. And then on the other side with the A's, this is kind of a risk too. Olsen, Brown, Canna, I like those guys kind of in that lineup. The A's strike out a lot against left-handed pitching, 4th overall. So I really lean Ohtani's way in this one. Next, we have the Giants Dodgers, 7.5 over under. DeSclafani against Buehler here. DeSclafani, 6.9K. Not a bad price, just really bad matchup for him. 22% strikeout rate, does get ground balls. However, the Dodgers just don't hit into too many ground balls. And then Buehler on the other side, the other ace of the slate, 10.4K. It's definitely pricey. The strikeout rate is going up 29.3%. He's in a really fine spot. I don't mind, putting pitchers against the Giants. They have been good. They're kind of boom or bust. It's all home runs or nothing. They strike out a lot. So I don't mind getting to Buehler here, especially as like a contrarian option to go with him as your SP1 over Cole. I don't mind that. Dodgers batters, we'll talk that. They do strike out here and there, but second and on base percentage, they have so much upside. It seems like they're starting to get things kind of going back again. Love the left-handed bats first in this one. Muncy, 5.1K, leads the majors in on base percentage right now at 0.450. So he's getting on base about half the time he's at the plate, which is crazy. Lux rested yesterday. He should be back in there. I really love him at 4.2K, and you can throw him in your shortstop position. That's Turner hit a bomb yesterday. Smith rested yesterday, so he should be in there. So I really like the Dodgers as a kind of hopefully low-owned stack here. And then last but not least, we have the Rangers Mariners, 9 over under. Rangers have Lyles taking on Sheffield for the Mariners. Mariners favorited. Lyles just really not a good pitcher. He does have a decent matchup here, though. Mariners do strike out a ton, dead last in average and on base percentage. But for a fantasy DFS purpose, I just don't trust Lyles is going to get there. He really does struggle against left-handed batters, though. And then on the Mariners side, Sheffield, 7.9K. He's got a good matchup as well. The Rangers are 4th overall in strikeouts. He doesn't typically get there. He has just under a 20% strikeout rate, walks a lot of guys, 9.3% of the time, gets ground balls, really decent at limiting fly balls. It should be interesting. The matchup he has here, the Rangers are 10th overall in home runs. We know that they like to hit a lot of fly balls. So it starts with Garcia here, 3.5K. What are you doing, DraftKings? This guy is tied first in the majors in home runs and tied third in RBIs, right up there with like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and all those guys. It's crazy to me that he is priced at 3.5K. I'm going to play him literally every chance that I get at that price. Lowe, Gallo, Calhoun, love the lefties here for them. And then on the other side, one thing to kind of know is Ty France is back. He has a lot of power upside. 2.8K is fairly cheap as like a one-off. Seager always in the mix, 4.4K. Like I said, Lyles does struggle against left-handed batters, but it's the Mariners. I don't know how much faith you can really put in a team that is dead last in average and on base percentage. I'm not going to go there, even though they're facing Lyles, but I don't mind some of these one-offs here. But that'll do it. My name's Tim. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't. We really, we break down these games nearly every main slate. That being said, it is Memorial Day weekend. I hope you really enjoy that time with your friends and your family. Things seem to finally be getting somewhat back to normal. So I really hope you have a good, safe, fun weekend. I'm taking a little mini vacation myself. So this will be the last video I'm doing probably for like 2 days here. So I'll keep updated on Twitter. You feel free to reach out to me there, Tim Williams DFS. I'll answer any questions you have. But that is it. Have fun, stay safe, and good luck tonight.